The Flash, issue 10, legacy
Oh.
number 810. Cy Spurrier writing with Ramon Perez and Vasco Georgiev on the art. So you're reading this, Matt, so I get to
Yes,
rest my voice for a bit.
you do. So the issue starts with Wally in the garden, and we've known now that the garden's a trap. It's essentially to keep him occupied by whatever else is going off in the realm. And we get our first look at what an archangel actually looks like. And I don't know if you've seen those memes that go around of what like the angels look like if you go off of a Bible description. But they're like these big, fiery, geometric kind of shapes with wings. That is what these look like. The one that is talking to Wally in this is just this big, gigantic. There's like a pyramid in the middle. It looks like a bunch of eyes around it with a bunch of wingtips. But essentially, that ghost, who I'm gonna guess now is not exactly the ghost of his mom, but it's the representation. Not his mom, because that would be Barry. So never mind. I have no idea who this is at this point.
Yeah, and your Flash is mixed up.
I am getting my Flashes mixed up because we have essentially biblical angels showing up in the Flash book, which color me surprised. But essentially, that ghost is trying to make him remember that he's Wally West, and he's like, Wally West, never heard of him. And he's sitting in the shade when the archangel shows up. And then it cuts to Barry and that big Justice Buster mech suit that showed up claims to be Batman. And he's like, it proclaims, I'm Batman, authoritarian goth buzzkill. In Barry's like, nah, Batman doesn't talk like that. Like, whoever you are, you're pretending to be Batman, and why do you have the Justice Buster suit? So it tries to hit him with like essentially what is it here? It's a frictionless condensate. So it's essentially to make him not be able to control his speed, but it's Barry Allen. So Barry's able to shake it off of him. He starts running circles around the Justice Buster, and it's revealed that it's Oliver Queen, who is working for Waller already. And so Waller has sent him to bring in the Flash because all the screwy stuff that's been going on. But he does have a fun line here where Waller's trying to tell him. So eventually, he's undermining Waller at every chance. So even though they're working together, she's like, you need to bring him in swiftly and surely. And he's like, well, let me play around first and do what I need to do. But she wants him to use this AI targeting system to get the Flash. And Ollie, this is kind of what gave me the too, that it was someone that has a point of view. He goes, AI can't create lady. All it does is regurgitate old S in pretty patterns. A situation like this, what's needed is some intuition, and that's where it cuts to him. So, Ollie giving a little bit of his take on AI and artistry. I felt like that Spurrier talking through the character, but eventually he throws a batarang at like super speed, and it knocks Barry off balance enough. In the crux of thing where adult Wade is with this, the timekeepers, he's changing his own diaper, which is grossing out Piper and Jay. And as they're doing this, he's like, this is weird. Isn't it weird that you're changing your own diaper? Like, yes, I know it's like you taking care of your own business, but it gives you a different perspective, which gets Jay remembering what his dad would always tell him. And it's this fun little angle of Jay on a roof with Haley the dog while Wally and Dick are talking. But basically, he remembers that Wally told him that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change, and that all the numbers that these science folks are processing, he's like, well, maybe all the numbers are right, but that's because reality is wrong. Like, there's something at the base level that's not right. So Jay starts playing with his like reality shaping, and he starts seeing like the Folded Man and the Mirror Master and Grodd and all these little pieces start to pop up. So they start to see the bigger conspiracy at play, and that essentially Wade's like, well, if they want all these speedsters off the table, then whoever's in charge of this, I'm more inclined to put them back on. So the issue ends up, that part of the issue ends up ending with the Flash family coming in to assist Barry to take out the Justice Buster, and Ollie gets out of there before they're able to, realize that it's him. And Waller gets him back to wherever their base is, and there's a little bit of seeds towards absolute power and whatnot. But the part that I skipped over was mainly a fight scene between Barry and Ollie, which is fun because they end up Barry ends up tracking their frequency to wherever the signal's coming from for this big Justice Buster robot, and he had gotten hooked by the suit through his shoulder, and when he gets there, Barry's able to pull Ollie through and then throw him through that, which makes for a fun little action sequence using his momentum. And then it gets back to Wally, in that while he's here and he's frozen with the Archangel that is talking to him, that now that he doesn't remember who he is, he's a perfect empty vessel, because they're going to show him what he's meant for, and that's to be a divine weapon. That between the Crown of Thorns that still infected him, because it's infected him and Barry, he's going to be the syringe, and the Crown of Thorns are going to be the poison, and they're going to inject him into the Speed Force. And you turn the page, and the final reveal is there's a bunch of archangels in the four corners, a bunch of like gold energy flowing around, and Barry staring at like what looks like another Crown of Thorns. And so essentially the Archangel's plan is they're going to murder time itself using the Speed Force. So yeah, it's a lot more straightforward. I know it sounds like a bunch of babblings of a madman trying to go through it like that, but from all the pieces that we had, it's finally starting to come together as a more cohesive story. Now that we realize that the Archangels, who's ever impersonating the Archangel or whatever they are, there's a bigger game at foot, right? And that's everything that they've done is to prep Wally to be the one that essentially undoes time and everything. And it took Jay to figure that out by something that Wally had told him. So it's almost, I feel like it's almost creating this loop of, this is why Wally's important in that way, is that he is this inspiration. And even though he doesn't remember who he is, the fact that his family remembers who he is, that's, I think, going to be the key to everything. The art, you can't, like, the split's not that noticeable. I do feel like all of the Wally stuff is one artist, and then I feel a lot of the action stuff, it feels more like Georgiev. But I could have them flip. Georgiev could be doing the Wally stuff, but it doesn't look like the Amazon's Attack. So the art's a little bit different if it is Georgiev. The action scenes are really well done. Who's ever the artist that does that, that's doing the Flash stuff, they draw Bart like he's a little kid. Like he looks like he's about the same age as the twins. So that was a little off, but all the layouts and everything, it's handled really well. There's a good flow to the action. And yeah, so this was a book that Pete didn't read that I did and I enjoyed. I'm glad I'm keeping going with the Flash. So I'm going to give this a 7.5.